All right, welcome back. Class one, part two, the painter's palette, color and light painting with emotion. Oh boy. We are going to be stepping up to the easel and doing a painting demo. We talked about a couple different options right before we took a break there, one being a marsh or kind of a pond. So I'm just going to share because I really kind of fell in love with this image at the very end here. Where's my Photoshop? Want to share it. Huh. For some reason, Photoshop is not showing up. Oh, maybe because I have it behind here. I apologize, you guys. Let's try it again. There it is. Okay, great. Okay. So you see my Photoshop here with that image that we were talking about of the trees?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really like this. And I think this may be a great idea is just kind of getting in a good edit in here.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and find an edit that we like. And we are looking at a 12 by 16. So what's that? Anyways, we'll just kind of edit here. I'm just going to get rid of that right side,
3 to 4.
3 to 4. So that's about that.
I don't know if anybody else sees it, but I keep seeing a gigantic squirrel and a puppy trying to climb out of a hole.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all I can see in that corner.
And once
That's
you
awesome.
see it, you can't unsee it.
Right. It is.
I do not know what you guys are getting into during the break, but
Not me, I just changed my clothes.
okay. All right.
You still
Yeah.
don't see the squirrel and the puppy?
I'm not looking yet. You
No,
guys
it's
ruin it
You,
whenever I do
you
that.
don't want to see
you
the
can't miss
squirrel and
it.
puppy.
I don't see it at all.
I don't see it either.
It's like topiary. It's the
That's
shape
pretty
of the
funny.
bushes.
It's a puppy.
So here's what I'm kind of thinking is what if we simply grabbed a little bit of this right about there. Why won't it grab it? Why is that little grabber tool going away? Huh. Stay, please.
Can't tell you.
Yeah. I just want to copy this. There it is. Okay. Copy, paste, and now I'm going to flip that layer.
I understand.
There it is. Okay. Flip that. Move it down.
Reflection in the water.
There you go.
Now we got two puppies and two squirrels.
Yep.
I'm going to make it so the opacity goes down so I can see behind it. Grab my big old eraser. That is a gigantic eraser. And I'm just going to take it to here. And I'm going to just pretend I can see what's going on here. And let's see if we don't have a little bit of a pond all of a sudden.
Mhm.
Oh, I did it in reverse. Darn it. All right. Sorry. my history.
Michael, with your tech skills, everything you're doing seems really advanced.
It is, man, I should just restart here in a little bit. Normally I have a little history thing, so I can just go backwards.
Aren't you having some AI interference? Because I certainly have found that at least the Apple world, they've invaded and they try and organize everything in a way that is not the way I had it organized. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it seems to have reset everything that I had laid out, all my different areas here. So I apologize, you guys. Maybe I'm overly complicating this for no reason. Anybody know where they would hide Hitler history?
History. Oh,
No, not me.
not
I think
under
it's in-
you.
If this is Photoshop, I think it's in Windows. Doesn't I can't really see from your
Window.
screen. It used to have
Normally it's
some-
just sitting right here. Gradients, patterns.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, let's do it again.
maybe go back to home. Making a reflection.
Wow.
Making a
Oh,
reflection.
now leave
yeah.
it, just leave it
Okay,
like that and we can tell what you're doing.
Right.
Okay. And I'm just going to erase it a little more blindly. I just want it to feel more natural. I love these grasses and some of these flowers. There we go. A poor man's pond.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
So do we like it with a pond or with more of just color?
After all that work you just
With
did,
the
I think you
pond,
have
yeah.
to do it.
Keep the pond.
Definitely the pond. Yep.
All right.
Man.
Fit on screen. Okay. But yeah, this little bar here is always popping up too, and that's AI trying to make changes, which would have maybe been smarter of me, but try to like design it myself. Yeah, that looks kind of nice, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, great. So let's paint that. So now I'm going to do stop share. You guys are not going to see this pond anymore because I'm going to just have it up on my screen and not going to take the time to print it. I'm just going to reference it by looking over. And now we are going to stop this video. Do you guys think I should just stop and restart the video and not download all that silliness?
No, that's helpful.
That's
I like
Okay.
helpful, yeah.
That was
All right.
awesome. I
At
At
learned.
least you can
time.
fast forward when you have to rewatch it again, Heidi. I
No, it
apologize.
was great.
Yeah.
That was really valuable, actually.
I just want to look somewhat smart, but okay. All right, so I'm going to stop this video and we are going to jump over and I'm going to spotlight this one. Okay, phew. Everybody sees the easel?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, no, not
Oh.
yet.
No.
You don't see it.
No, we see Graham.
I see.
I see.
Sure.
Ah,
Interesting.
there you are.
Okay, so How about now?
Hey, there it
Here
is.
you go.
Yeah, that looks so nice and clear. All right. Let's see if we can make this happy little scene. And I can get rid of this one. Congratulations, little print. You made it to the bigs. And then I'll have to look over at my Photoshop to find the edit that we chose.
Mhm.
So I'm going to start by doing some quick sketching in, getting some kind of nice guidelines and big shapes. Oftentimes, when I am doing a landscape painting, even if it's, hard to see what's kind of going on in the background, I like to quickly throw in my horizon line just so I kind of know where I'm at. And we've got our ground plane is about a little less than halfway, probably about here. I like to use a T-square because there's nothing worse than finding out that I've got a crooked horizon line halfway into a painting. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of my ultramarine blue, a little bit of my quinacridone red, make just kind of a little bit of purple. I've got a bit of paint thinner in there. I just want it to be kind of slippery and slidey a little bit. If you're using acrylics, that would be probably a little bit of water. You just want to kind of keep oftentimes my initial layer a little bit thin. And that is one of the most important marks I will make in the painting because that's going to dictate where everything goes. It feels a little bit close to the halfway mark. So I could lower it a little bit if I wanted to. I'm just looking on it is truly about, so if this is 9 inches, I probably want it at the 6. So it's worth making this right. All right. So I can even just be a little more scientific and actually measure it. So that's 12. So I want it at about 9. That can't be right. That's way too low. I'm just going to lower it to 8. I generally try to keep my horizon line not in the middle of my space, just because it feels a little more boring, a little more stagnant. And this painting is going to be, even though it's got a cute little pond and pretty grasses and stuff in the foreground, I want it to be about these trees and the sky more. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit of paint thinner on a towel and get rid of that line. And I'm going to be painting fairly thick, so I'm not too worried about things about these lines because I'm going to cover them all up. So now I'm going to look to my big shapes, and I often will look to my darks in the beginning to kind of just give me my form. So I've got some pretty good sized trees that go all the way up to about here, over to about here. This nice, I don't know which one's the dog and which one's the cat.
You're on the puppy dog now.
Now you're on the puppy dog, yeah.
And he's down in a hole, just his front paws are
Yeah,
out.
he's just thrown out.
I'm trying not to get in the way of the camera, and it's making me have these like squiggly little marks here. But that's okay, because I'm just kind of looking for my big shapes, looking for interesting things. These are just kind of like little reminders of where things are going to exist in space. And even though it looks super sketchy, which it is, and messy, it's worth
That's
me
the
just kind of
squirrel's tail.
Yep.
Oh boy. Now, where's that pond going to be? It's kind of right under here.
Straight down.
Kind of goes up, comes back down, even though it's so arbitrary how I carved it in. Fun. It's just kind of hunting. Where do the trees, meet up with the ground plane? And hopefully in the next stage after this, things will start to come together, feel like they've got a home. I'm just really trying to figure out how high up do I want them to go? Where are my interesting shapes or sexy curves or whatever you want to call them? It's going to add movement kind of in my focal area here. Which tree branches are going to be interesting? Which ones do I want to just ignore and not include? And I'm just kind of feeling my way into here. And again, this information is for me, right? And you guys are like, obviously, because that looks so weird. But it's just me kind of giving myself a blueprint, a rough idea. And once I get this locked in, often the other stages can come pretty quickly, especially once I get my design. And then I'm going to establish some values. And I'm not doing a wipe away on this one, like you can see, which I will explain to the new students later, but it's not very useful for you guys anyways as acrylic painters or watercolor especially. All right. I'm going to step back.
I've actually been experimenting a little bit with pouring paints instead of just pouring them on a canvas. And instead of having heavy body, I will take the pouring paints and sort of use them as a medium because it's a lot thinner than a lot of the other mediums and things like the gel mediums and whatever. And
is it called flow or something like that?
yeah.
I have a huge jug of that stuff that I've never opened.
Highly recommend. I'm using it at the moment and like look at how it's like glowing compared to what I usually do, which can get streaky and whatever. And I've got all these paper cups. Oh gosh, you can not really see, but yeah, I've been experimenting with it. Just had some leftover paint and I've been using it, and it is like painting with melted butter.
Huh.
Yeah, it's amazing. And also, anybody who saw my little chocolate mold thing, I'm telling you, that has changed my life.
That's awesome.
And to clean it, you just pop them out. Like you just pop the mold inside out and just peel the paint off. Oh,
Does
Anyway.
that work for oil as well as acrylic?
that is a question. Michael, take it away. What would you
What was the question?
Would oil paints work in a silicone mold to use as
I don't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the solvents and things would
Oh, sure. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix up some darks so that so hopefully you guys will be able to kind of see what it is I'm going to be, building. So when the foundation is like the blueprint of the painting, getting in some darks is going to give me my foundation, right? It's what I'm going to build up on. So I'm just mixing up a pile of just kind of some dark. The colors here are my typical split primary palette, except for this is slightly a different yellow. I've got a titanium white. I've got a cad yellow light. I think that's a cad yellow medium that looks like it's been a little bit contaminated. Cad yellow red, or cad red light, quinacridone red, phthalo blue, manganese blue. Over here, I've got only 2 of these colors are out of the tube. I've got a transparent yellow ochre, which would be nice for warming up some areas. And these are colors that I was using on my painting yesterday. So I just kind of pulled them over. Others are just mixes from this palette. And then my other color that I have squeezed out from a tube is one that you guys sent to me, and that's the green gold, which I still haven't used. It's still just sitting there. So anyways, I'm mixing up a dark. So I'm mixing up a dark purple, and then I can add a touch of yellow or a touch of green. Will neutralize this. You can see how dark it is. I also have some Payne's gray over here. I could just cheat and mix that in. I'll just mix a little green because it has some yellow. I could even grab a little yellow. There we go. Now I can add just a bit of paint thinner because I'm going to let this be quick and slippery. And I'm going to put it on fairly thin. So I'm using a bristle brush, which is, pretty. I can make scrubby marks and just kind of really knock in these shadows and see how they feel to me. So I'm going to look to let's just go to the pond real quick. So I'm looking to where the pond and the grass kind of meet. At the top of my pond here, I can kind of knock in a little bit of it. Now I'm going to look to the shadows of those trees. I'm just kind of scrubbing in, again, keeping my darks fairly thin. That way I can layer into them really quickly. If I put them in really thick, they'll be very shiny for one. For two, they will be hard to layer into. So if I keep them really thin, just by scrubbing them in there a little bit of paint thinner. Just a touch more paint thinner. It's a little sticky because these are paints that I had out yesterday and probably even the day before. That is one good thing about oils. I did have them in a Tupperware overnight and stuff, but they still do get drier.
All of these pouring paints that I'm using, the flow ones, I have poured on Sunday and they're still like liquid. So game changer for acrylic.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, my daughter was going to get into it, and I think she did it with her friends, but then we bought some of the supplies, and they've just been hiding in my cabinet ever since.
It takes up a lot of room, actually. And like, yeah, it's hard. We do the classes for them at the studio, and I always regret it because like I have to keep them flat, perfectly flat, or the whole design changes, and then it takes up like half the studio, and then people have to come back and pick their paintings up. So, it's got benefits though. If you are an oil painter moving into acrylics, maybe try it.
Yeah, and they look really fun. I've never done any of the pour painting in or any of the Yeah, and we visited a gallery in, I believe it was in Carmel, California. And, I always think of the pour paintings as being very much a hobby, kind of a silly thing to play with. But there was a lady whose whole gallery was based on her pour paintings. And she had really mastered a lot of interesting techniques and, had a lot of tabletops and different things that she was doing. And they were really beautiful. And had figured out a way to really make it look like your aerial view looking down at an ocean and a beach. And
Yeah, I figured that technique out, and I teach a class on that actually, and it's like mildly viral, I guess. Every time I put it up, everybody wants to do it because it looks so impressive and it is so easy.
Mm.
And me and my round canvases, I did this whole series of the solar system, and I did Jupiter, even with the little red spot and everything. And I had this really big HD picture of Jupiter, and I spent hours with toothpicks swirling all the paint around, trying to get it all the little layers. So it's really fun if you enjoy chaos and messing with your paint.
I do like a little bit of chaos,
Mm.
but I feel like you guys give me enough.
Ah, very fun.
Just kidding. So you're beginning to kind of see, again, just thinking of the shadow side of the trees here. And what's nice about this is it really helps me to stay abstract with it. I'm not, thinking tree, branch, leaf, or anything else. I'm just thinking structurally, where's my shadows? I'm just looking for lights and darks and how they're going to interact. How can I bind some of my shadows so that they're not just little spots of shadow here, a little spot of shadow there. And what's nice too is this kind of gives me a chance to look at it, observe, see, my shadow reflections in the right spots. Have I built interesting forms, interesting shapes? Should I move things around? Because everything's pretty loosey-goosey at this stage. But hopefully, you'll be somewhat impressed when I start bringing in these next bands of color and things that it just gives me this nice opportunity to fill in forms, fill in shapes, look for color transitions. Maybe in the foreground, I can look for a little bit of, some kind of a movement, a motion that I can kind of use. Maybe I'm just making it up. You'll never know. Okay, so hopefully you can kind of see some trees. You can kind of see some reflection, kind of see some trees. I'm going to go ahead and knock in my trees. So I've got kind of a nice deeper green guy here, a little more golden one over here. Back here, I've got kind of a reddish one. And on this one, it's going to have some transparency because the branches are breaking up a little. There's going to be a little more sky holes to this one as it's coming in, but I may even move some of the sky holes over here and make this one a little more solid because again, I want my focal area in here. So if I have the most interesting top of a tree that I ever painted right up here, it's right near the corner and kind of taking us out. Again, I kind of want to keep us moving around in this area. That makes sense? So I'm using this to think about design, how I'm leading the viewer through it. So even though I love the top of this tree, I'm going to start to think about, well, can I use some of that information more on these trees where I want interest and focus? So let's go ahead and mix up a couple colors here. I'm just going to grab, again, these are greens that were mixed from this palette or this green gold, which you guys, again, have gone on and on about how awesome it is, and I never have used it. So let's see. It looks like a nice kind of a, let's add a little white to that so we can see what color that is. Oh yeah, look at that. So right out of the tube with a little white, that's really vibrant, beautiful. I think that's going to make some interesting mixes. Let's add a little white to this green, which is a much cooler, duller, kind of a muckier green. And then let's just quickly look at our options for mixing green, even though we're going to go over a lot of this later. So I've got ultramarine blue, which is my warmer of my two blues. It's got red in it, or it leans towards purple. So when I lay out my color wheel, right, I lay it out like it's in a color wheel, but in a straight line. So it's my cooler yellow, which leans towards green, my warmer yellow, which leans towards orange, my warm red that leans towards orange, and my cool purple or a cool red, which leans towards purple. It's got a little bit of blue tint to it. My warmer red blue, which leans towards purple, or my more purpley blue. And then I've got my manganese blue, which will make really beautiful, vibrant greens. So this red, like I said, this blue has a little bit of a red tint. So if I take my warm yellow, which also has a little bit of red to it, it's going to make a very olivey, dirty, dark, but warmish green, right? I can add more yellow so we can actually see that. We'll add it just into part of that pile. So very Pacific Northwest, right? It's got a lot more olive color. It's got a lot more reddish color. If I want to make a very, very vibrant, let's just think I'm really wanting to push the spring feeling in this scene, I would use this combination of both my yellow that leans towards green and my blue that leans towards green. And you can see how vibrant that is, right? Unfortunately, even though it's beautiful, it doesn't exist in this scene, right? But it's easy to manipulate. I'll just add a little bit of red to that. And all of a sudden it's going to start going towards more ochre kind of colors. And now all of a sudden it exists within this scene, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my reference and look for a couple big piles of color that I could use. So I've got a lot of kind of a pale light green in this area, some auburny reds, a bit of yellow, and then I've got kind of grasses here in the foreground and that are going to be in this field back here. They're a little more on the blonde side. So let's mix some of that. So I take my yellows here, and there's no formula for any of this, right? I'm just going to color mix it until I like it. So there I already got some green in it. I'm just going to add a touch of red to that. Now I can add a little bit of white to it. And already it's getting pretty close. Again, I'm looking in this backfield and a little bit in the foreground, right? It's not exact by any means, but I can use that to get where I want to go. Maybe add a little more white to it to lighten it up.
So Michael, are you thinking
Maybe
of a warm light?
What's that?
Are you thinking of a warm light or a cool light for your source?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with kind of a warm. It would be probably a cooler light, but I probably am going to push it towards the warm a little bit, just to bring out some of the reds and golds a little bit more. Okay, pretty happy with this little color combination over here for the lighter grasses. Let's get some red auburns in there. So basically what I'm going to do is make a reddish brown. So it's going to be primarily red, a touch of yellow. It's going to turn it to a hot orange. And then I can add some blue, which is going to neutralize that orange and take it to a rusty red, which is my grandma's name, Rusty. I think every redhead was probably named Rusty back in the day, unless they were just named Red.
I used to get blue. People would be like, "Hey, blue." I think that's an Australian thing, though.
That's when they call me Slim. All right, nobody laughed.
I laughed. I just didn't hold down the space bar.
Okay. There we go. So now I've got some nice auburny colors here that I can add as some of the kind of highlight colors that are around the edges there. Also, I'll be able to bring some of these into the greens, into the trees. And I want to make a reddish green now, so I can get it into this tree here. So I'm going to do the same thing. And I actually have a really beautiful pile of whatever this is, brownish, reddish. But I'm kind of wanting to stay away from these colors on this side a little bit, just to show you how if I was just using my split primary palette. And then I'll use some of these to doctor up a little more, like seasoning. So let's mix a reddish green for the light in this area. So I'm going to look to my reds, and I can just kind of grab some, see how that does. Again, I'm going to go to my yellow and make an orange, which seems counterintuitive. I could have done this either way. I could have come at it from the greens or from the reds. Let's add a lot of blue. So now it's a very dirty plum color, which you guys can't probably see. It's just a nice dark, which I'm going to pull some of it aside and reserve for when I want to come in with some detail into my darks. I'm going to add a little more red. And then I'm going to add a big old dollop of yellow and turn that towards a greenish, hopefully reddish, brownish color. So it's important when I'm looking into my greens, especially, to say, you know, what kind of a green am I seeing? Because if I just look up and just go green, then there's so much green, right? Green, 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 but they're all very different. And it's in that difference that's going to make these trees have a little more personality and a little more flavor. So I'm going to look to my yellow to lighten versus adding white. If I add white, my greens are going to become pasty, kind of like this one up here. I'm not going to stay away from my white completely. I may need some to actually get it light enough. But a lot of times the light in our trees, when we're looking at the light side, is actually quite a bit darker than we think. A lot of times we're comparing it to the dark, so it looks like this huge jump, but we actually are going to have, it's usually not as light as we think, unless it's a very, like a flowering tree or, you know, some special type of tree that is actually very light. But in the Pacific Northwest, pine trees and oak trees and the cottonwood trees, a lot of times are much darker, even when they're being hit by light, than we think.
Is your palette a true 50%, do you think? I mean, the gray of the palette under it.
I tried to. I mean, I ended up using a car spray paint.
Yeah, because it looks a little lighter. It looks a little lighter on screen, but
yeah.
Is it? I mean,
I am not positive. It's just called a middle gray, and it, you know, when you're looking on the charts of the paints, it's in the middle. But yeah, right. I can't be positive. All right, so I've jumped way past the reddish, but I do like this color, and I'm going to preserve some of it. And I'm just going to add a little more red back in and maybe a touch of this other blue and bring back some of that green. There we go. That feels a lot better to me. All right, you guys see how I'm kind of banding these colors? So there's different relationships. And, you know, we could consider mother colors, which we'll talk about in future classes again a little more. But let's just start. Oh, I need some sky color here. Let's move this pile of paint and give us some room for sky colors.
To what extent are you using the dark of the purple underpainting as your guide, would you say?
Was there a question? Sorry, I didn't quite hear it.
Yeah, to what extent are you using the dark purple of your underpainting as a guide to what is the darkest dark?
We will see. It'd be nice to leave some of that in, but yeah, I can easily come back over with dark, especially to get, because, not all of these trees, since they're different colors, right? There's a yellowish green here, a reddish green here, a green, and then another even redder green over here. So they probably have variations within their colors from each other. So I would definitely start to look for that as I'm progressing. So I've cleared off a spot to make some cleaner blues. Look into my sky. It's going to be quite airy. So I'm looking to my manganese blue here. It's already, you can see, it's kind of a nice sky blue. Won't take a lot of white to make it a just really airy. I mean, doesn't that look happy already? Probably too happy. So I'm going to add a touch of ultramarine blue to it, which is going to make it a little red. It's a little on the turquoisey side. So a little bit of my ultramarine in there. And I can keep them separate. I can keep my ultramarine towards the top, so I can have the top of my sky is often going to be a little more towards the purples. And then what I may even do is add just a touch of yellow down towards the bottom where I'm getting towards the horizon line. We'll see if I can get away with that or not. And a touch of my red. And we will see if I have a cool light. Maybe push that too far. We'll see. Maybe I'm going to separate it so it's not continuing to contaminate. I'm just going to put it down here. Let's get back up here, add a little more white and a touch of that yellow again, and just see what that transition can look like. Again, this is all experimenting. It'd be so nice, I think, to be able to just step up and go, okay, I want that color, mix it immediately. But that doesn't seem to be the way it works for me. Is, I'm kind of sneaking up, I'm kind of experimenting. And you see, as opposed to making one big pile and then going, oh, that's not right, adding a lot more paint to it. Oh, it's still not right. And eventually you have all your paint in one pile.
Right.
Because I'm constantly pulling it aside, especially if it's not working. Because otherwise, if I wanted to, I'd have to add a lot of paint to that to keep adjusting it. So I don't know if you guys ever do that, where you get the wrong color and just try to add a bunch of color to it to keep adjusting it, but you're going in the wrong direction. So then you have to add even more paint. There we go. I kind of like that transition. Still maybe overly bright, but we can see.
What I was getting at when I asked you about the purple, maybe you could take a little bit of the darkest green you've got there and just put it on the tip of your palette knife and hold it over by that dark purple. Because that's what I was trying to understand, whether the darkest green that you've got is aiming for the same value as the purple on your underpainting.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, I was trying to see from, because it's hard on the digital to see.
Yeah, it's almost darker.
Oh.
My darkest green. I can take a little bit of that. So that's a good question, maybe a touch more yellow to that to lighten it. And again, I'm trying to kind of stay away from using white to lighten everything, just because it makes things pasty feeling, right? Chalky.
Yeah.
Even though artists use that word chalky in different ways. Let's try putting some of this on and just see what happens. So yeah, it is disappearing right into that purple, isn't it? Because it's almost the same value.
Uh-huh.
Which is, I assume, what you would like, right? I mean,
I don't mind it.
Yeah. It would be nice if we were.
I don't hate it.
A little hard to see from back here, but that's only.
Yeah, but once I start adding in some more light, then hopefully we'll be able to really start to see it. So I'm just kind of blocking in. And again, it's still kind of messy. I'm taking my no tan, dark and light, which is basically what this is. No tan just means dark and light or black and white. And now I'm just adding a little bit of color and kind of continuing my pursuit of the next value. So within those darks, I can just slightly lighten them. And I'm going to have to revert to a little bit of white. So this is my greener green, kind of the lighter green color on this tree. I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the light side of this tree, even though normally I would just kind of come through and keep mixing. And I am grabbing from the other piles again, because I do want harmony in the piece. I don't want every tree to look so separate, but I do want it to have its own personality and flavor. Let's go to our reddish tree. You can get a lot lighter than that. So we can actually see into those light areas. Even lighter than that.
There.
But it's easy to lighten. It's harder to darken a lot of the time. So I'm okay that I'm just kind of sneaking up on things here. This will probably be too big of a jump. Probably added too much white to that. So let's get a touch more color back. And where's the lightest? Kind of comes across here. So are you guys starting to see the light coming in?
I'm still trying to find the squirrel.
He lost a lot of the squirrel when he did his under.
Sorry.
That used to be the squirrel's body.
So even though I'm just scribbling in little dashes of color in here, it's more of a reminder. I have a bad habit of forgetting my reflections and then having to go back in and retry to mix, close colors and stuff, even though the values are different and things like that. So I try to dash in little bits of color. I don't know if you guys noticed too, I'm just painting with a big Egbert. So this, kind of keeping it sloppy and messy. Maybe I should change over to a flat or something with a little more control. But I kind of thought it might be fun for this I'm not loving the greens in here right now, but I'm going to hold off on changing those until I get a little further and get more things covered. Up in the foreground, we've got kind of a lighter bush. Kind of breaks up the space up here in the darks. Let's jump over to our really quite reddish tree over here. Ducking underneath the camera. And I think I am going to go ahead and change brushes here in just a little bit so I can get a little more control. It's really wanting to make kind of a very similar mark over and over. And I think I'd rather have a little more variation.
Oh, it's very cool. I was just wondering whether it does make a similar repetitive.
It is a little bit, yeah, a little more than I would like for sure.
It's funny because I thought it was going to be much more variable because of the length and the flop.
Yeah, and it would if I was painting bigger, probably. You know, really letting it kind of dance and move and do its thing. Such an ugly little shape I put in right here, but I'm going to use the background to kind of carve into that, and maybe I can add a little bit of some warmth to the top of that. Not positive about this little tree paint playing peekaboo here on the right side. I was kind of thinking it would help to, you know, turn the shapes, bring it back in. But I maybe have to make it even a little bigger so it's not just right on the very edge here. All right, changing brushes. I'm still going to use a great big brush. This is a size 8. But you just want to kind of get it covered, and then I can come in and do some of the sculpting and different things as we progress. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to the mountains in the background, get kind of some bluish mountain line back there. Line of mountains, not a mountain lion. So I want a kind of a gray, purple, blue for that. See, it looks kind of blue on the monitor. So let's see what happens. Don't love it. A little too greenish. I think maybe I let it get contaminated with my dirty brush and my dirty hands and my dirty towels here. So let's just mix up a prettier, newer color. I'm going to go towards purple a little more. This is one reason I like having my great big palette versus this. You know, for most people, this is a very large palette, but for me, it's quite small, at least in the studio. And the nice thing too is I can adjust all these colors after I get, you know, things covered, and we kind of really start to feel out how things are going to look. It's hard to do much comparing when you have, you know, all this space around it of this kind of glowy pink light color. Man, that is a bright sky. Wow.
Drone video that shows you an angle.
I think I heard you talking a little bit, Don, but I can barely hear you.
That wasn't me.
Oh, okay. Heard something about an angle. Or maybe somebody was calling me an angel. I don't know.
Well, I think I can say you don't like to paint blue skies.
Blue skies are tough for me.
Do you have phthalo blue on your palette?
I don't. My manganese is as close as I'm getting.
Okay, good. Manganese and ultramarine.
Yeah, that's more typical. Every once in a while, phthalo sneaks in, but not too often. So I'm just going to keep trying to get things covered, and I'm going to leave little bits of areas around some stuff right now, just so I can, again, compare these colors and see how they're feeling. I'm looking for kind of a dull green to kind of bump up against some shadows there. Get it a little warmed up compared to that. So yeah, a lot of the time when I'm out plein air painting or whatever else, I'm just trying to kind of, again, get things covered so I can begin to see how things relate, how they're harmonizing, if they're playing nicely, if they're getting along. Now, can I get away with throwing a nice strong auburn color down into the foreground of the grasses and the marsh and the pond? And even though there's 20, 30 colors, subtle color transitions down in this foreground, I still want them to play nicely together. I want it to feel like, for one, that it's pretty, if you want it to be pretty, and for two, that it just feels natural. You know what I mean? This is just nobody dug this pond and nobody's cleaning this garden. It's a little organic, natural place I stumbled upon, and now I can say we've stumbled upon. And those are some of my favorite color combinations, are these foreground kind of golds and auburns and golden greens. And I'm sure there's a lot of areas you're looking at in this painting as I'm painting it, and you're just like, oh, I wish you would just cover that, that area so I could see it a little clearer. At least if you're like me, especially when I'm watching other people paint, I'm like, just cover that little bright pink spot there so I can see what's going on. So I can begin to compare it in my head. And, I'm hoping that while I'm painting always, that you guys are kind of partly saying, oh, that's nice, or no, that's horrible, not what I would do, and kind of coming up with your own solutions. Maybe you're just like, I wouldn't add that color there. I wouldn't add that color there. And the good news is this week, if you choose to paint this or something similar, you'll get to make a lot of those choices, because there is no right or wrong answer. I'm just seeing what happens, seeing if they play together nicely, seeing if I like how they're playing. Does it match the couch? Does it, feel good with the other work in the show? Does it feel like a place I would want to hang out?
The interesting thing to see is, except for what you're doing right now, almost every stroke you've made has been sort of a dancing kind of stroke. Not smooth, long, but dancing all over those trees and the grass. Interesting way to do it. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm leaning a little more impressionistically in this one, trying to get, some paint on there compared to just doing the thin and the wipe away that I've been doing so much of. And
I think it's coming out great.
Yeah,
that's very nice of you.
it's more sketchy, and I like that too.
Yeah, but I can always keep coming in and refining, right?
Yeah,
Like I can keep cleaning up my edges. I can keep. I remember when we were first looking at the picture that I was talking about some of these transitions from the green to the gold to the red, and just trying to capture some of that without overworking it. Yeah, and Don was mentioning that he went out to one of the galleries that shows my work and saw some stuff that looked quite different. At least that's what I think Don was saying. I could barely hear him again, but yeah, you went out to Dragonfire, Don. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah, and then you saw some of the more impressionistic kind of broken color.
Yeah, it's like your wife had talked to you and talked some sense into you.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. It's only been 20 something years. It was bound to happen eventually. Yeah, and I'm not too worried about like this didn't end up very blonde and light like it is in the, but I can easily, just come back in and add more color. But so I'm just going to keep trying to get it covered and then come back in and doctor and clean up as is, because this is still going quite quickly.
So, other than it obviously it being a demo, are you still sticking with your original idea, kind of, which is light, bright, blue sky mood? Is that right?
Possibly. This feels chaos to me. It hurts my feelings a little bit. I think I'm going to have to neutralize that. That seems cartoony. I know a lot of people who would do it and get away with it and make it really work, but and I'm not against bright blue skies, but that just feels artificially bright to me.
Based on the printout that you have there, I think I would have started with ultramarine first
Yeah, maybe
and
so.
then adjusted that, because to me, that's what I see back there.
Yeah, it's definitely more purple here, that when I'm looking at the monitor, which is backlit and glowy.
Right.
So it can be a bit of a trick. So I'm not worried. I can cover all this up. No problem. And again, just right now is just kind of, I don't want to say a race, but just let's get it covered. Let's see if we're even close. And then start to modify from there. And the truth is, I try to keep it fairly abstract at this stage. It's just shapes, values, colors. I'm trying not to think things. You haven't seen me paint a single brush stroke or a single leaf, right? It's just big shapes, big values, big colors. So I paint from dark to light when I'm painting with oils and acrylics oftentimes. And I paint from big shapes to small shapes. And also thinner paint, which you can see me scrubbing a little more and pushing the paint a little further. Then if I wanted to get really impressionistic and thick and juicy with this, I can definitely start loading up the brush once I know where I actually want that brush stroke, right? If I race to that too early, then it's, if you put it in the wrong spot, it can be a big old headache to move. Unless you use your palette knife and scrape it back off. Holding my brush as much as possible towards the back, mid to back. Try not to choke up and get too detailed. Also helps me to stand further back from the image so I can see it a little more, the entirety of it versus getting too choked up on it. Whew. That blue is blue. Does everybody agree that blue is ridiculous?
It's blue.
Yeah.
It's blue.
Well, you said you wanted to do bright blue sky.
Yeah, maybe I didn't mean chromatically bright. Maybe I meant light blue sky.
I can take it.
Your California impressionist stage.
Right.
Well, I think it's unbroken too. I think once you get some clouds added in there, it's not going to be as
As bright. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, as always, I'm going to listen to Cheryl.
Now I'll be in trouble.
Let's go towards value more than chroma. So I'm going to just lighten that up a bit.
I always put just a touch of yellow in my ultramarine blue and white skies. Touch of yellow. It gives it a better look at reality.
All right.
Not that you have to do it, but that's what I
Just a bunch of bit of lemon zest for you. Okay. And that would gray it down because it's a purpley blue. Add just a touch of yellow. We'll gray it down just a touch. Just get to it already.
So you add a touch of yellow to what? Ultramarine and what?
So yeah, you can see how much cooler, calmer that is.
Yeah.
He said ultramarine and white
Yeah.
with a touch of yellow.
Exactly.
Now we can.
I feel
breathe
so
again.
much better.
I can breathe.
Well, yeah.
And I can let little dashes of that vibrancy show through.
Yeah.
Sure.
So is that a happy accident?
Yeah. I mean, and it's always the process too. It's just, like, again, I can come over with the blonde. I can come back in with lighter colors into these trees. Like, it's easier to lighten. And a lot of times I think, when you get the French Impressionists with their broken, light in the sky, I think a lot of that time is them modifying the colors that they put on first. I know there is some planning and a lot of, for a lot of it, but grab a clean paper towel because I'm going to be bumping into trees. Checking out the tip of my brush, didn't get it dirty. Nice job. That time I did. Let's wipe it off. Start again.
Don't forget the reflections.
Thank you. And I shouldn't be pushing up against those trees so tightly right now anyways. I should just get this darn thing covered.
Hey, Michael, this is Alicia. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to drop out. I have an appointment I've got to get to. So I just want to,
No worries. Thank you for being here and for joining
Yeah.
us. And hopefully this is fun. And you
Yep.
are, as always, you're free to, paint what you want. If you want to do abstracting and, just using some of the information that we're going with, the color schemes or different ideas, I'm totally down. In fact, it'd be super fun to have somebody that's doing something like that in the class.
Okay.
So yeah, feel free to your homework. I'll post the homework. I'll try to remember to do that
Okay.
when I post. But
And this is
basically,
all.
it's going to be to paint a landscape, um, and we can decide if we think we should be doing blue skies this week. Something a little more sunny, and we're looking for the form within the objects, using the light to create a sense of form.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And it's all
However you-
recorded, so I can rewatch and whatever, right?
And come tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes,
Come
I'm gonna try
tomorrow.
to come tomorrow too. I have to
Great.
go get a root canal right now of all things. So I'd much rather paint.
Yeah.
And Heidi had to take off a few minutes ago. She wanted to tell you thank you,
Okie doke.
and she's enjoyed it very much, and we're looking forward to it. So
Great. Yeah, and it is going long, so I will just kind of get this kind of covered, and we'll probably call it a day here soon anyway. So
all
perfect.
righty.
It
All
was
right.
great to
Thanks
meet
so
you.
much. Okay, take care. Bye.
And I'm going to run out of color right as I get to the end.
Oh, no, that's so wrong.
Graham's going to have to teach us his magic formula again. Ultramarine blue.
Right.
And I should be using a palette knife. Ultramarine blue. White.
I think you've already got enough yellow in there.
Yeah, you could probably extract that from what's left over there.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of yellow I just threw in there.
Yeah.
Too much.
Is that Hansa yellow light that you're using?
I think today it is a cadmium yellow. In fact, this one is just
yellow light, I think he said.
Yeah, I think
Thank
it's
you.
just cadmium yellow, which is a different brand.
That's pretty close.
Yep. Start from away so that when it gets towards it, we'll have some blending going on. See, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I contaminated my brush and took some of that tree up into the sky. So I just take my paper towel as opposed to trying to paint over it and just spreading it around. Just wipe it off.
I wanted to tell you that I'm on a number of Facebook pages for people who paint different things. And so often they'll come up with a question that we just discussed.
Really?
And the other day they said, well, how comes my brush is picking up all this paint again? And I said, well, according to my oil painting friends, you use a little more paint and a little lighter touch.
That's right. We're getting there. Almost have a covered painting. And then I get to come through and refine and modify, maybe add some clouds.
Well, the squirrel is still there. The puppy is
Oh,
not.
good. Good.
I was going to say to the watercolorist that this is an example of something that you can't do in watercolor. Generally in watercolor, you start with sky first.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You can, if you're skilled, you can do it this way around, but most people, you paint the sky first in watercolor.
Yeah, and with acrylics, you definitely can too, because it dries so quickly.
I was always taught top to bottom, back to front. And that's how I start everything.
Huh. Guess that's how I clean my house.
You gave the squirrel an eye.
All right, let's finish these trees. So you can see that I left little bits of light around them, right?
Yeah.
So now I can get back to some of those trees and kind of, I'm not going to say finish them because it looks like it's going to take another visit to do much finishing on this.
Now I can't unsee the eye. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks.
Now you see the squirrel.
Now the puppy looks more like a turtle coming up.
Yes, he
And
does.
his head sticking out from his shell.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yes.
Loch Ness, but it is more like a turtle.
His shell sure is tiny, though.
The squirrel looks like it's yelling at the
Yeah.
So I want to discuss what kind of drugs you all are taking.
Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
You don't think we scared the new people away, do you?
I'm pretty positive.
I was thinking they were very polite.
Yeah. I'm
Give them
guessing they were
time.
on mute and talking to each other on the phone. Yeah. Like, what have we done? I thought you did some background check on these people.
Well, we always say that when we paint by committee, we learn more because we talk about how the colors come and why.
Absolutely.
Ooh, I like that. Now that's nice.
Yeah, it was quite the tangent going on there.
I find that tree confusing because I can't, is that a trunk on the right? I can't quite see what the green thing is on the bottom left. It seems to slant off as though there are vines falling down off of it or something. But maybe it's because it's a small screen I'm seeing it on. Yeah, that one that you were just working on. when it,
Oh, here.
yeah, once it descends down, where's the trunk? Where's
Oh,
the,
I have not put it in yet.
yeah, so there's two pieces that seem to come out of the bottom. That's not,
Yeah, there'll be a
okay.
trunk, right?
Yeah, there's something, I don't know, it's sort of,
Yeah, it's definitely leaning right now, but that's one of my favorite parts of the reference. So I'm trying to keep it, and then I'll explain it here in a little better, give it a scientific reason to exist.
good.
But I'm not doing detail because if I put in that little trunk, right?
Yeah.
But I understand, yeah, and it is a little confusing. And I think this is actually a separate bush that's
Yeah,
closer.
yeah,
I think
that's what I
so
wondered.
too.
And then that
Yeah.
tree's further back. So maybe I should just bring a whole like shape over there, right in the top of that. So it comes forward. And what I can do is cut in the bottom of it. Let's get some of that blonde paint on there. And we're going to
Yes. Wow,
That's better.
that made a big difference.
yeah, we'll keep refining.
So it's real distinct between what you're just painting and the tree way back in the distance. But I have a question about the far right. When the yeah, on the when the colors are close, kind of like that, and it's something that I've struggled with. The comments that I get a lot of times are that I'm not able to make things, or I'm just they kind of blend together. So at the very right edge of that canvas, yeah, and then the tree be way back. Oh,
Is that kind of what you mean?
yeah. Oh, I mean, my question was just how do I? What's a good way to, I guess, bring one forward and push one back?
Yeah, I mean, with color, you could also create something that's at the base, just kind of like I did here,
Yeah.
to differentiate them. And then we'll have to let's bring our blonde back in. Nope, wrong color.
I've been painting a Rococo velvet chair with a cushion and gold tassels and things, and accidentally painted it all in the same color. But I will combust if I don't show everyone. Look at that. You may now call me Fragonard. That's me. But look at that. No reference. Just sitting here thinking, where would I like to be? On a chair in a palace with a giant dog that's snoring. But what the heck? I suddenly got good and like crazy, crazy. I thought I was a weird landscape painter. Turns out I'm actually a royal portraitist, everybody. Get ready.
You're a royal cat.
Yeah, I think that's what's given me this skill. And the funny thing is, green gold seems to be the theme of the day for us, but I don't have green gold. I don't have like a red gold either, but both of those colors are actually what make up gold, like metallic gold. It's not yellow, really. It's like
No.
green and copper. And I've got behind me, I've got all these framed, like golden framed pictures so that I can use them as references, or at least I hoped to eventually. And here we are.
Nice.
So I would like to thank the Academy, the atelier.
I think that gold has a little red underneath it, at least when you do gold leaf and some other gold things, when you use actual gold paint. Usually it's an underpainting of red underneath it. I can't tell you why, but it works.
I don't know why it's that clay kind of paint that they put underneath it.
I guess, I don't know. But on porcelain, we used to paint, well, I didn't paint Roman gold because it's too darn expensive, but I had other gold. And when it would, it's a red underneath it seems to make it come out different, brighter.
Yeah, I've never done it properly either, but yeah, all the videos I always see it looks like kind of like clay and paint mixed and has a very bricky color to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the why of that. I'm a little bit curious about putting a cool pinkish pale color up front, but we'll see. Yeah, and then I have like some black stripes in here that I have to get rid of because see how they're all linked and a little bit illogical. But I'm glad I've got it fairly well covered. I've still got the tops of these trees. A couple more small areas. And I definitely can keep lightening these trees to create even more sense of form a little bit. Definitely need a trunk. Should need a number of trunks. But yeah, it'll be fun to go take a little lunch break, come back and kind of refine some of these shapes. But I'm hoping that the lesson, the general idea of light, form, color, was mostly accomplished in this hour and a half.
Thing about these kind of midday scenes is they always feel like they're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's true.
Now, if you're going to finish this on your own, would you be willing to record that
Sure.
or save it till next week? Either one.
Yeah, I mean, if this is what you guys would like to kind of see next week, it'd be probably really nice to let it tack up and yeah, I think
I would just love to see from start to finish.
Sure. I'll just save it for next week. We can put some clouds in there and just kind of get this
Thank
area
you.
covered.
Next week, that's when the clowns come in with their big cabins and
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
set up the circus thing.
Need clowns and cows, get a squirrel back. There's a lot of things that could happen next week. So definitely want to tune in.
Last night, I had to teach for 3 hours. I taught 80 college students.
Whoa.
I was mic'd up and I taught them how to paint a window, like a candle and a window pane and rain all over it.
Mhm.
Wow.
It was hell, honestly. It was this like sober event because the drinking age in Australia is 18, but all of these kids starting uni, they're 17 and 18 and things. And like, oh my God, the amount of inappropriate imagery that was painted by certain people.
That's the age.
That is the age. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I don't
thank you for
know.
making that smaller.
So yeah, I'm feeling like I've kind of got it blocked in fairly well. Like
Uh-huh.
I'd be pretty happy if I was doing this plein air and knocking it in.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be nice to take a little break and figure out because I've lost a lot of the interest in between those trees. If we zoom in, kind of in the area. So I'd like to bring some of that, but it can do that next week and just modify these colors and everything else. So yeah, I think that's a
Let's do
decent
that.
start.
Your colors look so rich now.
Mm.
Good.
To be
Yeah.
continued.
To be continued.
good.
It's
If you
funny,
could-
it looks so messy on the
If you could go in for a close-up at the end today, just so we can see.
Yeah.
it, and then when we do tomorrow, not tomorrow, next week, we'll see it
Yeah.
and it'll continue on. But this way we'll see we'll have
Okay.
a close-up version.
An earthquake.
There we go.
Yeah, besides the earthquake, but
Yeah.
Whew.
It does not want to hold
Good.
still. I'll take a photo of it and send it to you guys.
Oh, that's good.
All right, good.
Yeah, and
Okay.
there's the
Good, good,
palette and everything else. So great.
Awesome.
Yeah. How do I get rid of this?
good.
It's got all these warnings popping up on everything.
Send that doctored up photo too, in case we want to paint
There you
this.
guys are for info.
oh, that's lovely.
Fabric of time space.
Ugh, all right.
Oh, that's funny.
We've crash
Yeah.
landed.
I feel bad for the couple of you that did drugs during the break. That must have been really wild.
Okay, that's funny.
They just got to put a lid on the turfs. Stop breathing in the turfs.
How do I want to unpin that? So are you guys seeing, what are you seeing now?
You,
You see me?
whoever's speaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whoever's
Perfect. Okay. How about
There
that?
you are.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, this was a lot to cover with the all the different ideas on light and how that affects color. It was a lot of fun looking through all those reference photos. I will definitely try to remember to post to our Padlet page, or I could send them in the email. Kind of the top ones that you guys, I feel like you responded to. Yeah, it's interesting. And I'll send the photoshopped image as well, because I think I would have done a lot better if I had that printed up beside my thing, because I was having to squint and look all the way over at the computer. So I think it'll be nice to have that for you. And yeah, your homework is basically creating form through light. If you want to do a sunnier, midday or whatever else you want to do. But just looking for strong light, strong shadow. And again, you feel free to use any of the references. And if you guys are fine with me coming back and working on this painting next week, that would be a delight.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, gang. Well, I think that about sums it up for today. Only a
We'll
half
see
hour
most
long.
of you tomorrow.
We'll go a half hour longer each class. So by the end of it, we'll only be 3.5 hours long.
No. Well, I have to be somewhere in an hour, so it's
Okay.
we started short this week.
There we go. There we go. Well, thank you all for coming back. It's so nice to see you all. And yeah, for those of you who are able to make it tomorrow, that'll be fantastic.
Lovely.
And otherwise, we will see you guys in a week.
Okay.
Lovely.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Michael.
everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you, Michael.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.